Alright, today we're installing laminate steering over stairs that used to have carpet on them. See that we pulled the carpet up and we tried to pull as many of the nails as we can off the top here. But the key here is now we need to go ahead and cut this so that this is flush. You see how this one's not, it has an overhang here. And that just prevents the nose and the new riser from attaching in a more clean way. So what we've done is go ahead and cut this off here. I used a basically a saw like this, jigsaw, to cut the initial cut, and then use the sawzall to start cutting this. And you'll see that here in a couple minutes how we go ahead and do that. But using a wood blade, you can see it actually started cracking here too. So I went ahead and I'll put some glue in here, and we'll go ahead and let this kind of re-glue itself together. Hopefully it won't cause any more cracking there. And then we'll get to the riser. Alright, so we went ahead and measured this board to 40 inches. You see that here? And we're going to cut this. I use the table saw, it just works out easier since I've used that for everything else already. And so we'll go make that cut. And then we'll paint this like we talked about before. We'll go and prime it and then paint it.
Oh, Colette, oh, Colette.
Okay, so we got a 40-inch piece. Alright, so right now we're doing the risers. I'm just using a 1/2-inch plywood from Lowe's to make the risers. I kind of want to show you the progression. So I basically start out with a piece like this. It's 48 inches by 2 feet roughly. I can get it for $16 to $17. This piece here has been actually primed. So the first thing I did is prime these pieces here as a unit, just to kind of simplify the process. You have to do it by each one. It's pretty tough to do them all. So I've done this one, I primed it, I'll actually cut this one as well to the size that I roughly need. A little bit extra, and then I'll prime it as well. So I just want to show you where that starts, and then we'll paint it. Okay, so you can see what we've been doing so far. We've got the stairs. I've started the bottom 3, 1, 2, 3. There's plenty more to go. I want to kind of show you how this goes. So I've got this particular stair right here, and I'm going to go ahead and measure this from the top and the next riser. So the key is you do the tread, which is this thing, and then you do the riser, which is this thing. You'll see that this cap tread actually fits over the top of it. So I measure this like this, and this is about exactly, let me show you here. Almost exactly 7 inches. And I measure that along multiple spots here, so I'll measure that here, and here, and here, and it comes up to be just about 7 inches. If it doesn't, I pick the smaller of the numbers to kind of give me a level thing. You'll see how it kind of fits out here in a second. And I'll go from there. So right now I'm just fitting these pieces, and then we'll go ahead and do our final check for anything like staples, anything else that we may have missed, and make a smooth surface to be able to glue this to it. So, alright, so I have this piece here. We cut it to size, and it's not going to fit vertically, and that's okay. But you notice it won't fit there quite the way we want it to. Okay, so not quite there, but that's okay. So what we're going to do is, you see this piece over here where it hits the molding. We're going to use this now to mark where we need to basically cut a notch so that it will fit. And we can see how far we want it to go into this section. So we can take it in a little bit, give it space to move in there. So I'm going to take it out probably about 1/4 of an inch so that it can move itself in there in this section here. And then that will also give us space over here. So once it happens, we'll have to remeasure and cut here so that the molding can slide in like it did before. Okay. Alright. Alright, so we're going to cut that notch in this piece here.
Oh, great.
And pull this piece out. Alright, so now we're going to run that in here. You'll see how it'll slide in much better. Here, just like that. You see how it slides in here now? Much nicer fit. That's what we want. Nicer fit on this edge here. And so that way it allows it to move all the way in here underneath this piece here. Underneath this piece right here. Okay, so now what we need to do is we're going to... That's fine. Okay, so now what we have to do is we have to figure out where we have to cut this here. So here's the molding piece we had from before. We're going to reuse this. And you can see how it fits down in there. Okay, but it's not going to fit here right now, obviously, because this piece is away. But this is going to give us an idea of where we need to cut this piece. To give it space so that it can come down. Okay. Here we go. There we go, yeah, that's what we want. farther than that. Okay, so that's good. So definitely the right here then. So we'll mark that. Mark that right here to there. We'll mark the space to here, like so. Kind of mark it around, and that way it can properly go in the way we want it to. Okay, so now it's been marked. We'll take this out. This all good. Makes do out at the shop. Okay, let's go and cut it. All right, you can see we made this cut here on this piece right there, and so we just used the jigsaw. That's all it was doing. What we were doing it was just using the jigsaw for that. Okay, so let's go and place this in here. Okay, so we'll slide that in its notch there, and then here. Okay, that's good. Now let's go to let's put the trim piece back on. Make sure it fits right. Now we're happy with how that goes. Okay, that's good.
Kind of fit in there, isn't it?
Yeah, there we go.
Because if you put that way, if you push that way, then you're probably not able to stick that much.
Oh boy. Yeah, cut these marks.
You cut it? Or is it just pencil?
Yeah, it's okay.
Dad, can I see that pencil of yours?
Yeah. Okay, that's good. And cut it. Fair enough, thanks. Alright, so I just want to show you what this looks from a side view of how we're doing this. So with the Kappa tread rub across the top, it basically just runs over the top of the riser, which sits at the end of the Kappa tread, or in this case for the top thing, the other Kappa tread. But this one is going to be an actual flooring system right there. Okay, to the last step here, at least the main steps for the Kappa tread. So we went and measured the distance. Oh, I'm still too long on this one. Go this way a little bit. So measure the width and the depth to cut the piece, and then we go and fit that to the piece. We'll cut the grooves out for the molding here later. We have a molding off, so maybe a lot easier to properly cut these. Okay, now we recut it. It should fit better this time. This one hand's always tougher, but here we go. So about a 1/4 inch off there, so that's good. Small gap towards the back, that's what we want for the most part. Might have to cut some more back here just to make sure I have a little bit of a gap, and then that way we know it's flush in the bottom here as it pushes in on the underside of this this tread. Okay, the stairs are finished. I didn't show the caulking or the final cuts of the trim. It was a pretty tedious process, and so was the caulking as well. But I'll kind of show what was done. So you can see the trim was fitted back for the sides here, and after fitting it and recutting it so that we got a tighter gap, just wanted to caulk this along the sides, and that turned out okay, I think. So I'll apply that here as well. The key was just keeping the caulk off the tread as much as I could, just to kind of fill the gap. Just get a clean line. The same thing here, I applied paint after I applied the caulk, and that's what I've done throughout most of this, is on the risers like this. I applied paint basically whenever I finished the caulking, and I just thought that basically make the caulk look better. Over time, that acrylic caulk will actually yellow and not look as good as it did when it was fresh, so the paint really helps that. So went ahead and did that, so I got the molding here done on the side, which I think added a lot to the stairs. Finished the caulking on the risers, and then up here as well, you can see how we have applied that here too with the riser here too, and same process. Applied molding on the side. This is actually the easy part, was the standard molding for the walls, and then this was a little bit more interesting, making those cuts to get that around, but I like the look of the molding going up and around the stairs instead of just cutting off and then having wall there. So basically applied that, painted that, caulked that, and same thing up here on these stairs, on the left side and on the right side here too. And that's it. Overall, pretty happy with how the product turned out. It was a kind of a slow process, and that's pretty much it. Hope you enjoyed watching it, and that you might learn something from my mistakes and do something better. Best of luck.